So you have decided to upgrade to Sylius 2.0. Now what? In this video, I will cover with you the checklist of 5 things that you need to have ready before you will start actual work. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first point in the checklist is your environment setup. Are you already on the Sylius 1.14? This is the closest version, the bridge version between versions 1.x and 2.0. Therefore, it's recommended to upgrade to that version, upgrade your whole stack, PHP version, databases, Node, etc. to be sure that will reduce the scope of the upgrade to the bare minimum. The more movable things will remove from the scope of the project, the more likely it is to succeed with our upgrade path. So preparation of the environment to the upgrade is one of the crucial points. The second point on the checklist is your UI boundaries and knowing your borders, or at least knowing what you need to do. I covered this topic slightly in one of the previous videos that you can check there, but now let's take a look into your codebase and see how many things has changed over the years. On the storefront, the legacy ShopBridge plugin has a great premise. It allows you to maintain your storefront, which you could invest over the years really a lot of money to have really great SEO and also have a great UI. However, what is compatibility with other plugins? That's still to be reviewed and checked. Therefore, it's tempting and useful itself, but we need to be cautious to put all the bets on that. Secondly, in terms of admin, there is no easy way to go with it. You need to do the full upgrade from Semantic UI and jQuery to Bootstrap Tabler and Vanilla.js with Stimulus controllers if needed. Therefore, there always will be more work with the admin parts. Perhaps you can skip some of the features or just make or add them later on, but for sure the full admin needs a rewrite before you will be able to upgrade to the new version. Be honest how much of the custom admin UI you have and how much you need. Perhaps some features are not needed anymore. That's a good moment to revisit the features and see if you really need to invest in them. It's worth mentioning a plugin created by our friends from WebGriffé, Sylius upgrade plugin, which should help you to identify change templates and places where you will need to upgrade on your own. The third item on our list are your plugins. The community already made a huge effort and upgraded most of the plugins. The most common ones like Wishlist and CMS were taken over by the Sylius and now are the official plugins. Most of the payment gateways, major payment gateways, are already there as well. Molly, Adyen, PayPal, they are now official payment gateways and are even pre-installed with the Sylius standard. TPay and PayPlug, to name a few, already caught up with the Sylius 2.0 version as well. Most of the important community plugins from Dedi, Stefan Dorn, Synolia, WebGriffé, Brille24, Odisseo, Flux SE, these all plugins are also upgraded to 2.0. Therefore, it seems that among all the plugins and the most likely that you have are already there for you to plan for the upgrade. Nonetheless, not all of them have the Sylius 2.0 support, and it's also worth checking what exactly changed in the plugin itself, because every change, every major break in the plugin itself may be also important change to you that you will need to address during the upgrade path. Now, it's time for the fourth part of our checklist, which is state machine. If you customize it heavily or even slightly, it's worth also deferring this change over the time, installing Visu State Machine and staying on the version that you already using over the years. As I mentioned in the introduction, the less things you will touch during upgrade, the more likely it is that you will succeed. Therefore, if something can work over the version, it's better to skip it. My recommendation, if you are using State Machine and customize it, let's use Visu State Machine over a few more weeks and do not touch it unless you will need or prepare further migration path. The fifth point on the checklist is timing and testing. If you run the store and you do not test your application, be aware that in your nightmares, Mateusz Zalewski from Commerce Weavers may hunt you down in your dreams. It's better to always have some automation tests in your application to be sure that everything works as expected. Now, if you do not have them, the cost of upgrade path or likelihood of failing during the upgrade path drastically increase. The automation tests, one of the key features of automation test is to avoid the regression. Without tests, we cannot be sure that all of your major happy paths, major workflows for the customer still works. If you do not have tests, it's the best moment to write at least few tens of them for the most critical paths for your customer to ensure that they will still work after the upgrade. Automation tests are not the only thing that you need to do. With the upgrades like that, it's always worth to commit some time for manual testing just to ensure that everything looks and feels as you expect it to be. And the second part of this point is the timing. There is no point in upgrading if your high season is approaching soon. It's better to plan it ahead and do it with your low season just to reduce the costs if anything goes south. And now the bonus checkpoint that will be required for you if you run Sylius headless. If you were using Sylius with API platform, that's also a leap of faith that is required from you because that's the major difference between platforms. Now, your safety net will be contract testing that you should have in your application. Just write simple tests that ensure that what you're returning to the front end is what it is with your version 1.x, then do the upgrade and ensure that the template or the contract is not missing any field. That will be your best option to upgrade between these two versions. Now, to sum up. So how long could it take? From my experience, usually the upgrade can take from lower 2 weeks to 6 weeks and more, depending on the complexity of your platform, usage of API and the UI, and the plugins that will be required to upgrade. As always, in this situation like this, it's always good to check if the plugins are needed. Perhaps you can just drop them and that would be the fastest and cheapest option. At the end, when you do not have any code, you don't have any bugs.
Nice.
Remember that this whole series is to reduce the cost of the upgrade for you. I would recommend to help yourself with some AI tooling like Cloud Code that should also reduce the time to market for this feature. And remember that even if you are using all this stuff, your judgment and the human eye will be required for it to succeed. Subscribe for more if that series is helping you with your upgrade path. I'm building a set of tools and resources that should help you with your upgrade, checklist, cloud prompts, tutorials. Sign up in the mailing list to ensure that they will land on your mailing box, or grab a free audit if you wish and think that it can help you. See you in the next one.